So let's welcome our first storyteller, Michelle.
A little bit, yeah. Thank you so much. As a first-generation child of Polish immigrants, finding a sense of belonging has been a complicated process that I am continually exploring. Even my name, Michelle Kaczor, reveals the duality of my cultures. Sometimes when I meet new Polish people that don't know that I'm Polish, we go through this little interview process where they sort of help me decide where it is and to whom it is I may belong in their eyes. And the influence of this interview process is also based on what country I'm in at the time, whether or not we're friendly with each other already, and also the gender of the interviewer. And it goes a little something like this. The first question is pretty consistent. A pani się urodziła gdzie? Where were you born? No, urodziłam się w Stanach. I was born in the States. Aha, okay. A pani rodzice, your parents, urodzili się gdzie? No, moje rodzice urodzili się w Polsce. Both of my parents were born in Poland. Aha, okay. And then usually this little commentary. A pani tak ładnie mówi po polsku? You speak Polish so well. And then I sort of awkwardly explain why I think I speak Polish so well, almost like I'm embarrassed. A, dziękuję, no, Pan Bóg mi dał takie dobre ucho i też mieszkałam w Polsce jako dorosła, no i trochę mówiłam jako dziecko i chodziłam do polskiej szkoły. To miałam początek, ale większość poszlifowałam jako dorosła. I lived in Poland for a while as an adult and spoke it as a child, and I went to Polish school, and I'm just lucky. Aha. Okay. And then there's thinking. And either they decide or they ask me to help them decide. No to czy pani nasza? Are you ours? I don't know. Nie wiem. There's a slight difference from the typical American question of where are you from to the Polish question of to whom do you belong? Czy jesteś nasza, czy wasza? Are you ours or theirs? Are you one of us or are you one of them? My sense of belonging and my connection to the Polish community was really amplified when I moved to California. I realized that I'd taken for granted growing up in the Chicagoland area where the second largest Polish population outside of Warszawa lives. I didn't understand how much hearing Polish and being around Polish people and having an abundance of easy access to Polish culture fosters a sense of home and belonging until I was without it. I moved to California and there were no Polish people. I moved all over California, from Southern California to the Bay Area, and in the entire 9 months that I was there, I did not meet one single Polish person that I'm aware of. This was its own kind of culture shock. A month or two in my time in California, I felt so homesick and such a yearning for Polishness that I drove an hour to the only European grocery store I could find. Continent Delicatessen. I think it was owned by Ukrainians. It was a tiny store in a strip mall with a deli counter and some prepared foods, and it also sold Polish products. I was in heaven. Kupiłam ogórki kiszone, kabanowski polski chleb, sery damski, szynka, twarożek, polskie masło, rzodkiewki, koperek, pomidorki i zwykłe ogórki. I got pickles and brine, dried sausages, Polish rye bread, ham, cheese, farmer's cheese, Polish butter, radishes, tomatoes, cucumbers, and dill. And when I got home, I made an entire plate of my favorite Polish foods, and then I took a picture of it and sent it to my mom. I think I may have cried a little as I ate it. I felt so happy and grateful. I'm looking for a job right now, and I feel confusion whether I should work for a Polish company or an American one, and where I fit best. I find I enjoy the Polish interview process more. It's more straightforward and with less performative questions. It's usually about actually getting to know me as a person. Although working for Polish companies usually implies the expectation of an immigrant Eastern European work ethic of some form of toiling and doing whatever it takes, neither of which I am able to fulfill, so it seems. I read an article recently that said when people speak different languages, they have different personalities. I find this to be true, and it does not help my somewhat fractured sense of self. When I speak Polish, I notice I speak in a higher register. I feel sweeter, softer, more feminine, more childlike and innocent. I may even be closer to speaking the truth of my heart. Czuję się miła, bardziej życzliwa, kobiece i dziecięce. Jestem może nawet bliżej prawdy mojego serca. I even laugh differently. I love the parts of me that reveal themselves when I speak Polish. On a similar note, I feel overwhelmed with the prospect of dating and choosing a husband and whether I need him to be Polish or not. I feel fear that if he's not Polish, that some deep part of me will never be fulfilled. But my experience of the culture of Polish men is a whole nother story. And then again, if he's too Polish, then maybe he won't understand or he will judge my American side, and that side will be unfulfilled. I also feel embarrassment and shame that I don't look like a traditional Polish beauty. When I was in my 20s, I went to Poland to live for 9 months in a sort of reverse immigration. I had a very transformational experience. I felt a sense of fulfillment, belonging, and peace. It was as if some deep part of me was connected and fulfilled on the soul level that I couldn't explain. I also got to experience what my mom must have experienced, as I remember a Polish woman looking down her nose at me, correcting a Polish word I had conjugated incorrectly with an air of superiority, treating me like I was stupid. I have this deep need to make my Polish culture proud. And I feel a deep sense of responsibility not to do things that they would be ashamed of me for. However, having said all that, I feel grateful that I was born in the United States between these two cultures because I am able to see things uniquely. I have a different perspective that offers something to each of my cultures. I feel grateful that I have the opportunity and the privilege to potentially heal some of the generational traumas caused by wars and the communist regime. I deeply desire to fully use the gift of this opportunity that my parents gave me by immigrating to the United States 40 years ago, even just by being on this stage right now. And although I'm not sure to whom I belong, I certainly hope that I may live my life in such a way that both of my cultures will proudly claim me and say, Ona jest nasza. She's one of ours. Ona należy do nas. She belongs to us. Thank you.